So I'm about to try fitting the cover plate that covers the outside of the firewall. It seals up the firewall from the air conditioning unit. What they give you to attach it with is these plastic little, I don't even know what they're called, things, but as you push those on and off, they deteriorate, and if you have to go too many times, then they're not going to hold tightly by the time you're finished. So what I'm going to do is, instead of those, these are not threaded holes that you're sticking them into, they're just holes. If you recall, I think we drilled two of them, and one was an original hole, but they're not threaded. So all they're depending on is pushing in that the plastic in there to hold them. So I'm going to test fit that plate that covers the evaporator unit from the firewall side, and I'm going to try and hold it in place with just by inserting those bolts, which, like I said, they don't screw in, but they'll kind of hold it on. I had them in the place for, I don't know, I was keeping something lined up with them. And then we have this that has to go over the connections. I don't feel real comfortable with this because I had it lined up when we were putting these fittings on. The problem I have is you were kind of lining them up out in space. You had nothing to reference them to see if they were anywhere near close. My concern is not so much getting that plate over that, but once it's over those tubes, is it going to line up with this hole and cover this hole completely? Now, from where we are now, it would be a major task to try to reposition those holes. Ha! Houston, we have a problem. Maybe there's no other way. This doesn't line up with the holes they had me drill. Well, maybe the ones I drilled. Doesn't line up with the OEM holes because that hole here that's the OEM hole isn't even close to this hole that the thing is hanging on. If I line it up on this, it's not even close to lining up on the holes they had me drill. So basically, then this is way off. Maybe I can bend these, but good grief. This notch is nowhere near close. I might have to cut that notch further in order to make it fit. Thing is, ones they had me drill. There's one. I'm going to have to pull this out because there's the OEM hole. One of the holes that's drilled. There's the third hole that's drilled, or the second hole that's drilled. That lines up okay, except this notch where the bolt that holds it up goes isn't even close. Question is, can I move these? Because now I think I can get the other plate on that. However, it's not going to cover that hole entirely. Enough play in there to move that. A little bit of play in there to move that. What a piece of crap. I'm going to have to cut this notch further so that that plate can sit flush against the firewall. And then I'm probably, once I get these on, which there's a grommet that goes between this one and this one. There's no grommet on the other one. Those are the ones from the heater core. These two are the air conditioning, the blue are the air conditioning, the yellow are the heater core. I guess my plan is going to have to be to get this on as best I can. If it doesn't cover that entire hole, I'll just make a seal. If you watched my video where I did the, I'll call it a review on my watching of the video where they installed it in a 77, this was all different. And now that I'm looking at this and knowing how these tubes are routed in there, I don't know why they didn't just make it a vertical thing, because these two would have been fine. They could have made this tube come out here and this tube come out here and made a plate with 4 holes in it, and it would have worked. It would have worked fine if they lined up the hole. So I don't know if this is a hole that they had me drill or not, but I don't think it is for some reason. I think that's where the, yes, that's where the original one was bolted in, because I remember taking a little, one of those clips that's metal that goes around something and has a facility for you to thread a bolt into it. Took one of those off of it. So that was the hole that was there, and they didn't make their panel match it. Matches all the other holes. And then of course there's the problem with not being able to align the heater hoses and the two air conditioning lines with the plate that is supposed to cover that hole. I think I may be able to cover it all, but it's less than ideal, let's put it that way. Okay, that's the cover plate that I've got to modify. I have to take off a chunk of this so that the bolt can be in this cutout. You know what, I'm going to turn that around because it's shooting the sparks toward that. I want to shoot them away from it. Okay, we should be shooting the sparks up in that direction now. I'm not going to touch that because it's going to be hot. But the piece of metal belt bent around to the back. I do want to clean this up a little better. Fairly clean from this side. I'll get a file and clean up that edge just a little bit. And I'm going to go test fitting. So I did my test fitting, and that is not enough because it would have to go more across here. This part needs to come out. So what I think I'm going to do first is I'm going to take this and put it in the drill press and drill a hole here to kind of round it so it'll fit around the nut and the washer that's on there. But yeah, it needs more work. Okay, I tried to drill that and was going okay, and then it slipped off the side of the bevel whenever where I cut it close to the edge was going to be. So I'm going to have to clean it up with the little die grinder. Shouldn't have to be doing this on brand new material. See that? That's where the drill slipped off, and that's where I think I need to go that far to clear it. I think what I need to do is get a bigger grinding wheel on that. That one's kind of worn and I can't reach in there where I need to get. Okay, I'm going to try to make this work. Really. Really sad that this doesn't fit any better than this. And turn around and get those sparks flying away from me. Clean up the back side of that with a file again. But now I think the knot is fitting on it. Test fit that, and if it fits, I'm going to hit it with a quick spray of Rust-Oleum. Okay, this is going to be the test fitting. Didn't video the first one, so I wasn't sure where I stood. Clear that. If I wanted to clear the washer, which I think I do, I have to take some more off. Let me put those bolts in place so I have a better reference. One down there. over there. That one just on the edge. Yeah, that washer is actually going to hold it away from the thing here, and now I can see there's a spot right here that's open. That's going to have to be filled with RTV to make this even work. And I don't have a strong comfort that that plate is going to cover up everything once I'm done with this. Well, I'm not going to video more cutting. You've seen what I've had to go through so far, so I'm just going to take some more off the same way. Well, it finally fits. Let me close up on the actual bolt hole. And I have a harness in the way, but this out of the way. That looks like that's going to fit, and the good news is that after all of that, once these are lined up, it looks like this might actually work. These two air conditioning lines get grommets around them. The two heater core things do not. Gonna have to be very careful about how I drill that to mount that in place, because it's kind of touchy. And these things are close together. I mean, they could have given you more room, I think, just by changing those, these hard lines they had you bolt on. So, it's worth noting that this plate here, the two holes here for the heater hoses, they're not in the same position. So if you flip it over, it doesn't line up like this. Doesn't line up. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. Actually, I don't even know if I have it focused on that. Let me check that, because that's an important, nope, it didn't have it in the frame. Okay. Let's go over that again. That plate has a right way and a wrong way. Come on, get in the middle of that frame here. There's a right way and a wrong way. And I'll show you by, right now I have it the wrong way. And that's not even close. Right here. Not even close, but if I take that, flip it 180 degrees, it goes on. Nice, huh? So, just have to be careful when you're putting it on. Now, I guess I'm ready to break out some RTV and put this on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on and put those pins in. I'm going to leave it set up overnight because I don't want it moving around. I think it has to be up. I hope it will stay up on the pins whenever I put the RTV on it, because that gives me a better alignment here for the plate to go on. But yeah, long time to do something that should take a couple minutes. For the manufactured right, designed right. If you're advertising that you're making a kit for a certain car, don't think you ought to fit the car. I'm glad that it was the factory hole that was misaligned, because if those other ones were misaligned, you know, you could say that I screwed them up, but from what I'm seeing there, those holes I drilled line up perfectly with the factory hole on the right-hand side up here. It's behind that wiring harness there. But the two on the bottom, I don't even think you can see them. One's behind those tubes, and the other's barely visible at the edge of the harness, I think. I'm not even sure that's it. But yeah, hours to do something that should have been a few minutes. Okay, so I'm going to put that plate on now to seal up the firewall. I'll put a bead of RTV around it, and then I'm going to put it on. I'm going to let that set for a day at least. Well, it's Friday. I won't be back here till next week. Go around these things where the retainers stick through. I'll go around this washer, even though it's not covered by the plate. It would be a potential source of a leak. Doing a fairly generous coating because it's a fairly wide flange on there. So that's on. Cap that and go get my cover and my pins to hold it. real quick. I'm going to try to hit these pins the first time. That might be easier said than done, but at least 2 of them. If I can hit them the first time, that would be nice. Get it lined up well. That one's going to be easy to hit. It's already started in. Now if I can see behind this one, come on. Who knew that I should have put the other end in first? Jeez. Okay, got it past it. See if I can line up with the hole. Bit more of this light so I can see the hole. One more pin down at the bottom over here. What little I can see, it looks like a fairly good job of sealing, except right here where the cutout for that bolt hole was, and even the original part of that cutout has a gap, part that I didn't touch. So grab some RTV and fill in that gap. Not going to be the neatest job because of that, but what are you going to do when this stuff doesn't fit? That's not going to work.